All right, guys, it is time to finish our story, which means you are just days away from being fourth graders. I cannot believe it, but it is time. So sit back, relax, and let's finish our story. Here we go. Screen's going black. Okay, Chapter 12. Me and Judy Billings. After school, I walked Judy Billings home. She asked if I wanted to come in for a popsicle. I said sure. I wasn't too anxious about going home anyways, with my mom waiting for me. As she opened her front door, something gray shrieked past my feet. "Oh no!" she screeched. "Muffy, get back here! Muffy!" The cat was already 5 houses up the street. Judy stomped her foot. "Oh, I hate that cat. She always does this." She slammed the door shut. We took off after the cat. "Whenever she does this," Judy huffed as we ran, "she goes up a tree." "No sweat," I told her. Sure enough, 2 blocks away, there was Muffy up a tree. Pretty far up, out on a limb. Judy slumped. "Oh no, here we go again." "Hey," I reminded her, "I said no sweat." "Hey," I said to myself, "you're famous. You're number 1. Judy Billings needs your help. Go for it, Black Widow man." I was in luck. The next day was trash pickup day. Cans were out. I dragged one over to the tree. I climbed onto it. It held me. Good. From the top of the trash can, I looked down at her. She looked up at me, smiling that beautiful smile. I saluted. "See ya." I was just high enough to get my fingers around the lowest branch. I dug my sneakers into the bark and I pulled myself up. From then on, it was easy. One limb after another, and there I was, even with Muffy. "Meow," Muffy said. "Okay," Judy called from below. "Bring her down." Down? For the first time, I looked down. Uh-oh. What am I doing up here? How did I get this high? Far, far below me, the trash can seemed like a thimble. Judy Billings was like a doll, her tiny face looking up at me, getting fuzzy, getting wavy. Come on," she was saying. Her voice sounded tiny and far away. I squeezed my eyes shut. I hugged the tree trunk. "I can't," I said. "You can't?" she called. "Why not?" I tried to think of some other way to say it, but I couldn't. "I'm afraid of heights." "Oh, great," I heard her say. I opened my eyes. Her hands were on her hips. She wasn't smiling anymore. "I'll probably grow out of it," I said. "Yeah?" she said. "Well, you better grow out of it in the next 2 seconds because I want my cat back and I want her back now." "Judy," I wanted to say, "it's me, Suds, the guy who risked his life with a spider for you." Something told me it wouldn't make any difference. Now the tree itself was waving. No way was I going down. I couldn't even look down. I reached out, got the cat in my hand. My hand under it, lifted it up from the limb. I prayed it was right what I had heard, that cats always land on their feet. Always, please. I dropped it. It landed on its feet. Judy squealed, "Muffy!" I hugged the tree again. I scrunched my cheek against the bark, shut my eyes. When I opened them, only the trash can was beneath the tree, I thought. She was going to go find somebody to get me down from here. A long time later, when mothers started calling their kids in to dinner, I changed that thought. She's not going for somebody. I did a bunch of thinking up there, too. I thought about the little kids that I had pushed off the swings, about the Twinkies I had snatched, about the spider that had probably wasn't a black widow at all, and a girl who was after something, but it wasn't me. I thought about rats and real men and number one and angels and fame and first and last and love and nature's way. And for the first time since I started 4th grade, I knew exactly who I was. A scared kid up a tree. I listened. One of those names being called in for dinner? Mine. One of those mothers' voices? Mine. Mom, I yelled. Here, up here, help, help, help. I screamed my lungs out. Pretty soon my mother appeared, then my father, then a ladder. I came back to earth. My mother squeezed me harder than I had ever squeezed the tree. Look at you, she said. She sounded mad, but I knew she wasn't. You're shaking like a leaf. What were you doing up there? I tried to answer, but only tears came out. I blubbered like a baby. I couldn't help it, and I didn't care. I held on tight to my mom as we walked home. Sorry I gave you such a hard time this morning, I sniveled. That's okay, she said. I was trying to be a good rat. I know. I looked up at her. You do? She smiled. I was talking to Joey's mom. Uh-oh. She laughed. 10 minutes after we got home, the doorbell rang. It was Joey and his mother. Hi, Suds, said Mrs. Peterson. She was smiling, but Joey, he didn't look so good. She said, Joey has something to say to you, Suds. I thought what he wanted to say to me, especially in front of his mom. Joey was facing me, but his eyeballs were up in the corner of his eyes. He didn't look any more like number one than I did. I'm sorry, he said. Don't stop there, said his mom. Joey blinked, coughed, swallowed, cleared his throat, shifted his feet, and twitched. I'm sorry I got you into... Pushed you, said his mom. Pushed you into the rat stuff. I shouldn't have talked you into saying no to your mom. And what aren't you doing anymore? I'm not saying no to my mom anymore. Mrs. Peterson nodded. Good. She patted Joey on the head. She smiled at me. Joey also wants you to know that he has dropped out of the rat race and has rejoined the human race. Mrs. Peterson smiled over my head. My mother was standing behind me. Guess that'll about do it, Janet. I think so, said my mom. Mrs. Peterson muzzled my hair. Bye, Sudsy. Bye, I said. They left. I turned to my mom. What was that all about? Just what it sounded like, she said. You didn't really think Mrs. Peterson was going to let him get away with all that nonsense, did you? It looked like she was. She nodded. You're right about that. She was trying to give him some slack, let him work out his way through this rat phase of his own. That's why she backed off about the tattoos? That's why. Plus, she didn't want to discipline him in front of you. But when her patience ran out, that was it. Curtains for Joey the rat. He said he was sick yesterday. She laughed. It was his mother who was sick of his shenanigans. She kept him home to clean up his room and his tattoos and his act. So, she snapped her fingers, that's that. For her, maybe. She was walking away. Mom, I said, I have a confession. Chapter 13, Confession. My mother turned. Her eyebrows went up. That so? Yeah, I said. Maybe Joey did sort of push me, but the last couple of days, that was all on my own. She sat at the edge of the sofa. I see. Anything else? Confession is good for the soul, you know. Well, there was another person in it, sort of. I see. She crossed her legs and folded her arms. A girl? She nodded. She thought. Would her initials be JB by any chance? I was shocked. How did you know? You've been in love with Judy Billings since first grade. How did she know that? Well, I said, something happened with her, and I guess I went a little crazy. I see. Well, anyway, I think I'm through with her. My mom nodded. I imagined she'll survive. She sat back on the sofa. She just smiled at me for a while. Mom? Yes? There's more. Is there? Yeah, you know when I was a rat there? Before you went up the tree? Yeah, well, I mean, I was really a rat. You wouldn't believe it. No? I took stuff from little kids. I pushed them off swings. I got detention at school because I wouldn't stop laughing. I rang doorbells. A regular rip snorter. Yeah. And Mom? Yes. It was me who took all the Klondike bars. Her eyebrows shot up. Every one? Yeah, totally. She shook her head. She was dumbfounded. I'm afraid to ask if there is anything else. Anything else. Anything else. Yeah, there was something else. Something still stuck inside of me. What was it? I didn't know. Can't think of anything else, I told her. She reached out and took my hand and squeezed it. Well, rat or no rat, your mom still loves you. There. Mom, I know now. Something else. When I was being a rat, I thought I was having a great time, but I wasn't. I was having a rotten time. I thought of the faces of the little kids that I had pushed around. It's like other kids thought I was a big deal or something. But I didn't like myself, Mom. My lip was quivering. It's no fun being a rat. My mom's face was blurry as she came towards me and pulled me to her. We stayed like that for a long time. I heard her sniffling. After a while, she said, Remember when you said being a rat was the first step to being a man? Yeah. Well, I was just thinking, it's kind of funny. As soon as you stopped trying to be a man, you became one. In a nice little way, I might add. How's that? Your confession there, taking the blame on yourself, admitting you were wrong, that's grown-up stuff. Really? She hugged me. Really? Well, I said, from now on, I'm going to be a kid. That's enough. She laughed. That's plenty. Suddenly, I remembered. Winky! I bolted out the back door. I searched the yard. Nothing. I tore the lids off the trash cans. Nothing. Gone. No. My mother's voice came from the driveway. We thought you might change your mind. I stared at her finger, which was pointing upstairs. I dashed past her, up the steps, into my room. There he was, my one-eyed teddy bear sitting on my pillow. Chapter 14. Me and Dad. I guess I should mention one other thing to wrap up the story. It was a couple days later, a Saturday, my dad's day off. I came back from playing outside and saw him in front of the VCR. I asked what he was watching. E.T., he said, only he didn't say it regular. His voice sounded funny. I came into the room. I looked at the screen. E.T. was on the table, all white. I looked at my father, at his face. His eyes were glassy. His cheeks were wet. He was crying. Dad? I said. He pulled out a hanky and blew his nose. He chuckled. Every time that little guy dies, he sniffled. I want to bawl like a baby. I climbed into his lap. I hadn't done that for a long time. I nestled into him. Don't sweat it, Dad, I told him. I do too. And that's fourth grade Rats, guys. Go to Flipgrid, answer the questions, and I hope that you truly and honestly enjoyed this book as much as I did. Can't wait to see your responses. Bye.